I woke up late on the 2nd of June. I slept through my alarm. It was my brother's birthday. I was supposed to go to my parents' house and spend the day with him. As I woke up, I was greeted by a notification that you were alive, which was a rare occurrence at the time, and I immediately clicked it, only to find out it was just a rerun. I didn't think much about it, but looking back, it was remarkably odd. It was hard to believe when I heard the news that you had finally taken your own life. I started frantically looking it up, hoping it was some sort of conspiracy, that it was just a rumor or a bad joke, but it was true. First thing I did was check the rerun. Everyone in chat was saying their goodbyes. I checked Twitter, same thing. And it finally dawned on me. You were gone. You were never coming back. I sat in bed, stunned, feeling hollow and confused. My girlfriend sat beside me, consoling me. I still couldn't feel anything. I was still shocked and trying to understand what had happened. I kept feeling my eyes watering slightly, and I kept making an effort not to cry, to hold the tears in. Thoughts flooded my mind, and I was trying to work through them. One thing that constantly popped up was you reading the passage from the book your dad wrote, in which he described the insufferable pain upon finding out that guy had taken his own life. I wondered how he was feeling, if he would be able to make it through this. I started thinking of the first time I heard about you and how much you meant to me, as I felt like an idiot for feeling so much about someone who never knew I existed. I realized I wasn't going to make it to my parents, and I called my dad to tell him I was sorry that I wasn't going to make it. I tried to explain why, but the words just tied a knot in my throat. I broke down crying and tried to explain that even though I never met you, I was just finding out that you meant this much to me. I just told him someone I knew just committed suicide and I wasn't feeling like traveling. I quickly ended the call as not to worry him and sat down crying while my girlfriend hugged me. A couple hours later, I sat down to write this and tried to piece together why your suicide had such a big impact on me. I started following your life a while ago. I found you through Hearthstone drama, I think, and I instantly binged all the content about you I could find. I was really depressed at the time. I felt like an absolute fuck up, and your content was one of the few things that brought me light in those dark days. I learned about your breakup with Jenna, which really broke my heart since I had gone through something similar at the time, and I was just starting to get over it. I started streaming soon after. Watching you had brought me so much solace, and I realized that if you, as flawed as you were, with your crippling depression weighing you down, could help me so much, I might also be able to help someone else, no matter how much of a depressed fuck up I was. And I did, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. And it was thanks to you. Then I remember watching you IRL stream. The Pokemon Go streams, I think, were the beginning, and that was fun, but when you went to Japan, I remember watching you and thinking, that's the person I want to be, that's what I want to do. Some of my friends had a Japan trip planned already, and I didn't really care before watching you, but after enjoying so many good times beside you in Japan, I ended up joining them. It was one of the best decisions I've ever made. You know, I started learning Japanese before the trip, because I wanted to be able to communicate even if it was just a little bit. One night my friends, the ones who weren't coming to the trip, organized a farewell party for me, since I was leaving for about 2 months. And I got really drunk and started speaking the few Japanese words I knew. And one of the guys who was there mentioned that he knew a Japanese girl that happened to be really cute. So my drunk ass just took his phone and messaged her. I told her that I was trying to learn Japanese and that I would like some help and suggestions for things to do while I'm there. So I told her that if she was interested in helping me, she could contact me, and I left her my phone number. She replied 2 days later, and we started talking. We ended up meeting 5 times before I left for Japan, and we started dating after I came back. I had never realized this before, but if it wasn't for you, I would have probably never met the love of my life. Finding that out just now, it hurts. It hurts that I'll never get to thank you for it. This trip was amazing. It is something that I'll remember for the rest of my life, and I would never have done it if it wasn't for you. I remember you going around and getting drunk, so I did that because it looked fun. I remember you and Soda dressing up as Ram and Ram, so I planned to do that. Eventually realized that I was not going to find Ram and Ram cosplays and went with a cat onesie instead. Some of my most precious memories were things that happened because of you, and I will never get to thank you for that. When I came back, I kept struggling with depression on and off, and I could see you going through the same thing, and help thinking that we were in this battle together. That even though you sometimes were in a way worse situation than I was, you kept fighting through, and even though sometimes everything felt lost to me, if I could keep going and get through it, that was in some way proof you could do it too. Seeing you happy was always like seeing a lighthouse in the middle of a storm. Every time you were happy, everything seemed great. It made me feel like I would someday get there, and someday I would have a life worth living. Soon after my girlfriend moved in with me, I told her about you and how much I liked you, and I told her that someday we were going to binge some of your videos so she could just see your whole story and understand why you mean so much to me. I showed her your interviews with Dr. K, we watched them together, and through them I realized the reason I streamed was to help other people like myself to do what you had done for me, for other people, because that's my purpose. I realized that I wanted to be someone like you. I started fixing up my life, cleaning my apartment, going to the gym, focusing harder on school, because I wanted to show people that even if you were as much of a fuck up as I was, you could fix your life up and emerge from the darkness a better person, because this is what you taught me. The day I watched you say you were no longer depressed after so long, I cried. It made me so happy, it filled me with hope and strengthened my convictions. And now I sit here lost, confused, and feeling like shit because you never got to know all the things you have done for me. So I guess this is my way of saying thank you, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry I never told you this. I'm sorry that even though I knew you felt lonely, I never did anything to show you I cared, and I did. I've always thought to myself, when you said you wanted friends to move in with you, that I would leave everything here to go live with you, to talk to you when you feel down, and to let you know that you're not alone. Every time I heard you say everything was worthless or meaningless on stream, I wanted to let you know that I would have stayed all night talking to you if that would have made you feel less alone, and that every time you needed someone by your side, I would have been there for you. But a part of me thought that even though you were my friend, I wasn't yours. And that even though I thought I knew you, I didn't. And you definitely didn't know me. And that there was so many people that felt the same way I did. You probably were tired of turning them down. And I didn't want to bother you. And now I realize I should have at least tried. I should have at least told you that I was so incredibly thankful and that I would be there for you anytime you needed it. And for that, I'm sorry. You gave me so much and never asked for anything in return. There's some things in life that just pop in my head from time to time, just random things that could someday happen or things that I would like to do. And lots of them I forget, but some of them just stick around and I can never get rid of them. Those, I think, are my dreams. And one of those was to meet you someday, to fist bump you, because I know you don't like handshakes, and tell you that I was a random pleb from stream that watched you for a long time, and I wanted to thank you for all the things you've done for me. And it hurts that I'll never get to do that now. So, as a final goodbye, I just want to tell you all you have done for me. The incredible force of good that you've been in my life, and I want to say sorry for never telling you this, for never being there for you despite knowing I should have. You're a great friend, and I won't forget you.
Gonna fool around with us. No one's gonna fool around with us. So glad to meet you, Angelus.
Yay!
I got one person clapping. What's up?
Woo! That was good. You weren't bad at singing.